Vienna, September 12, 2010. A woman boards a night train to Istanbul at Westbahnhof station. Blonde hair, designer sunglasses perched on her head, small wheeled suitcase rolling smoothly behind her through the crowded platform. She finds a seat in the second-class carriage, crosses her legs, pulls out a magazine, and begins reading casually. Across the aisle, a man in his 40s settles in, wearing a gray suit, leather briefcase at his feet. He unfolds an Arabic newspaper, checks his watch for the third time in 10 minutes, scans the carriage with practiced caution. To students with laptops, retirees dozing by windows, businessmen on phones, these two are just ordinary travelers on a routine overnight journey through Austrian countryside toward distant Istanbul. The train hums to life at 7:45. Suburbs fading into darkening fields. Announcements murmuring in German and Turkish. But exactly 90 minutes later, one of them will collapse lifeless in the carriage restroom, pronounced dead from sudden cardiac arrest by arriving paramedics. No struggle. No witnesses to violence. No signs of foul play. Just a Syrian businessman succumbing to heart failure under travel stress, body shipped home for burial in Damascus. This is not accident or coincidence. This is Mossad precision. The story of how Israel's elite assassins turned a crowded commuter train into an execution chamber, hunting a top Hamas financier through years of deep cover deception in the heart of Europe. A tale where death arrives wearing a pleasant smile, carrying a magazine, invisible amid the mundane rhythm of everyday life. Khaled Masri built his life around invisibility long before he became a ghost to intelligence agencies across continents. Born in 1968 in the Bureij refugee camp in Gaza, he grew up amid the daily grind of occupation, where his father returned home each evening from Israeli construction sites, battered by exhaustion and quiet resentment, while his mother managed 6 children in a cramped concrete dwelling without basic plumbing. From those early years, Khaled mastered the calculations of survival, timing patrols, memorizing checkpoint routines, and discerning which soldiers might overlook a bribe from those eager for arrests. Exceptionally bright, despite schools plagued by shattered windows and outdated books, he taught himself English through smuggled BBC radio broadcasts and picked up Hebrew from discarded Israeli newspapers scavenged near military outposts. By his teenage years, he ferried messages for local resistance groups, his slight frame and school bag providing perfect cover as soldiers dismissed him as just another harmless student. The first intifada erupted when Khaled turned 19, transforming his neighborhood into a cycle of riots, crackdowns, stone-throwing youths facing armored vehicles, and funerals that sparked fresh protests. While many peers hurled rocks or fashioned Molotov cocktails, Khaled saw the limitations of raw fury without structure, recognizing that sustainable resistance demanded not martyrs in the moment, but enduring systems of finance and supply. He aligned with Hamas in 1990, not as a frontline fighter but as an accountant whose talent lay in channeling funds across borders without traceable footprints. Over the next 5 years, he wove networks of shell companies, front charities funneling cash to cells, and import-export firms smuggling arms amid legitimate goods, designing everything so compartmentalized that a single breach left the rest operational. By then, he had become essential, ensuring Hamas operatives received steady pay, weapons, and safe havens precisely when needed. Israeli intelligence first noticed him in 1995 when signals, intercepts uncovered irregular financial flows through Cyprus-registered firms, sums far exceeding plausible trade, and routed through labyrinthine paths linking back to West Bank and Gaza activities. Analysts placed Khaled at the web's core, a name on countless documents yet absent from photos or footage. A financier who transacted billions without personal exposure. By 2000, he based himself in Damascus under Syrian regime protection, coordinating a decentralized finance pipeline stretching from Lebanon and Jordan to Turkey and deep into Europe, recruiting bankers and traders bound by loyalty and profit in cities like Vienna, Zurich, and Frankfurt, where discreet banking and expatriate hubs allowed massive transfers with little oversight. European agencies picked up anomalies such as deposits tied to known Hamas figures and wires bouncing jurisdictions to mask origins, all while Khaled posed as a Syrian trader in textiles and electronics. To field commanders, he remained the unseen force, keeping operations funded indefinitely. His fatal error came in 2006, when intercepts tied him directly to financing a Jerusalem suicide bombing that claimed 11 Israeli civilian lives and injured scores more, with funds traced through painstaking reconstruction of transactions from Gaza training to Sinai smuggling tunnels. For Mossad, this elevated him beyond financier to active enabler of bloodshed, prompting Prime Minister and Defense Minister signatures on a red page authorization granting open license for his elimination worldwide until revoked or completed. The woman, tasked with ending Khaled's run, possessed no single name that mattered anymore. Her true identity layered beneath years of fabricated lives like pages in an unclosable book. Recruited into Mossad at age 25 after military intelligence service, she hailed from Tel Aviv parents who had emigrated from Argentina in the 70s, her father a university mathematician and mother a foreign ministry translator, granting her native fluency in Hebrew, Spanish, and English, alongside a European look that defied profiling. Recruiters spotted her during evaluations for traits ideal for deep cover: sharp intellect, emotional steadiness, tolerance for isolation, and the rare capacity to maintain deception over prolonged periods without fracture. Assigned to Caesarea, Mossad's premier unit for overseas eliminations, she endured 3 years of training in surveillance, weaponry, evasion, and above all, legend building, learning to craft biographies so airtight they withstood deep scrutiny, internalizing accents, habits, and worldviews until the role supplanted reality. Her first extended deployment in 2008 embedded her in European business networks where Hamas money flowed, starting as Katrin Mueller, a Munich-based marketing consultant shuttling between Vienna, Zurich, and Munich. Mossad supplied a full package: forged certificates, academic records, job history, tax filings, even aged social media trails simulating organic existence. She leased a Munich flat, forged colleague ties, attended yoga, joined reading groups, and dated superficially, always at arm's length to safeguard her mission. To acquaintances, Katrine embodied ordinariness, the sort who faded into office chatter, achieving invisibility through banality. For 2 years, she mapped Hamas financial conduits, befriending bankers and accountants, facilitating transfers, gleaning details via casual networking without overt probes, relaying encrypted reports to Tel Aviv on movement patterns and key players. She shifted identities fluidly, becoming Simonier, the French translator one day, Elena Novak, the Czech reporter the next, each requiring wardrobe tweaks, accent drills, and backstory rehearsals to erase predecessors completely. This chameleon existence defined her pursuit. As early 2010 intercepts flagged Khaled venturing from Damascus for the first time in years, heading to Vienna and Zurich solo under forged Austrian and Swiss passports, sans his typical guards. Overconfidence or necessity had cracked his caution, presenting Mossad the window they craved after years of stalled operations amid his Damascus fortress and travel paranoia. Orders arrived encrypted. Relocate to Vienna, shadow Khaled, await alignment for a strike mimicking natural death to dodge probes implicating Israel. Timeline open-ended, methods flexible, but execution demanded surgical discretion on his public routes. She abandoned Katrin Mueller, morphing into Simone Lair, French corporate translator, over 3 weeks of prep. Fresh papers, apartment, contacts, shortened hair, Gallic inflections. In Vienna's professional scenes, she haunted events Khalid's proxies attended, charting his alias Tariq al-Hashimi residence, train preference over flights, mid-tier hotels, open-air cafe meets evading bugs. 6 months of distant photography and routine logging built his profile without approach, transmitting data for Tel Aviv analysis until his Salzburg leg surfaced via intercepts for an Austrian banker handling Gaza-linked accounts. Patience formed the operation's backbone, as Khalid's profile demanded total comprehension before action, anticipating his wariness in a 3-hour regional train through Austrian hinterlands with sparse stops and low security. Mossad approved, designating carriage isolation, innocent-seeming tools passing checks, natural death simulation, and mid-route exit. The weapon, a technical division innovation after extensive lab work, paired a perfume atomizer of clear aerosol with a paper-thin dermal patch, each harmless alone but synergistic in blood to induce cardiac arrest, indistinguishable from natural-onset barring advanced forensics. Rachel, as handlers knew her core self, received components 3 days prior in a Vienna safe house, drilling deployment until reflexive. Patch via fleeting touch, spray onto tissue for ambient inhalation, dual vectors ensuring swift overload regardless of variables. On September 12, 2010, she rose at 5:30, showered into business casual, packed her wheeled case with cover-reinforcing items, stashing atomizer in cosmetics and patch in a notebook. At Vienna Westbahnhof by 7:15, she bought second class to Istanbul, spotting Khalid near the platform, phone in hand, scanning crowds with practiced vigilance, yet boarding unguarded. Train left at 7:45. She claimed carriage 4-seat. Khalid entering minutes later across aisle amid students, elders, professionals. Conductor passed, suburbs blurred by, and for the first hour she feigned magazine absorption, peripherally tracking him and passenger density, awaiting thinning for move. First stop emptied the compartment to her, Khalid, and a napping elderly woman, prompting his restroom walk. She trailed 30 seconds later into the vacant corridor. There, as he exited, she feigned wait with apologetic smile, stumbling into brief forearm brush, transferring the patch undetectably, his nod polite as he returned seatward. Inside, she atomized tissue lightly, exiting to position it near his armrest for gradual mist evaporation. He would breathe unknowingly over half an hour. Back reading, she monitored covertly while train plunged into forests and hamlets. Khalid resumed Arabic paper perusal, shifting occasionally. No instant signs as compounds needed circulation time. 20 minutes in, dry cough started, suppressed at first, then persistent despite water. Pallor spread, tie loosened, brow sweat wiped. Passengers noted mildly but ignored, accustomed to traveler ailments. He rose shakily, hand to chest. Restroom bound again amid sparse concern. Inside, compounds peaked, destabilizing heart rhythm, contractions faltering, pressure crashing, consciousness vanishing in seconds to slump against walls, a textbook sudden cardiac event from presumed travel strain. Train rolled 15 more minutes before a knock yielded no answer. Conductor unlocking to find him unresponsive, eyes dilated. Emergency halt, medics boarded for futile resuscitation, pronouncing death on site as police swarmed for statements. Rachel sat composed, claiming absorbed reading till noise, providing flawless, German-accented Katrine details calmly concerned, cops noting and proceeding. Train detained 3 hours for processing. She endured, riding to Salzburg post-clearance, hotel checking overnight before Vienna return. Khalid's demise hitting media as Syrian merchant's heart attack, no foul play evident. Autopsy later cited acute myocardial infarction. Talk screens blank as Mossad compounds metabolized undetectable within hours. She lingered Vienna 2 weeks as Simone, scanning reports for red flags, finding none amid natural cause closure and Damascus repatriation. Late September extraction orders routed her Paris, Rome, Athens, Tel Aviv via layered flights, obscuring trail. Arriving early October for headquarters isolation, debrief, psychologists probing psyche, while officers dissected every phase for doctrine refinement. Operation succeeded. Khalid gone, networks jarred, Israel unlinked. Commendations followed, with Caesarea continuance offer she declined for analysis training shift, fractures from identity immersion evident. 5 years instructing recruits on legends, surveillance, deep cover tolls. She earned respect, yet displayed detachment, emotional reserve hinting at lingering fragmentation. Married 2013 to non-Intel architect, sharing vague service outlines sans specifics. Union dissolved 4 years later amid unbridgeable voids from compartmentalized pasts. Khalid's demise stayed vaulted. No acknowledgments beyond archives. World-viewing routine cardiac fatality. Hamas networks stuttered briefly. Intel gaps exploited, but successors rebuilt. Cycle unbroken as his Gaza-Damascus memorials lionized him, fueling recruits via martyrdom narrative. Rachel retired 2016 to coastal Tel Aviv suburb, freelancing translation for deception-free normalcy. Acquaintances noting her pleasant remoteness. Personally, she grappled if Khalid's end truly averted threats or merely sustained tit-for-tat, metrics opaque and prevented happenings. Operation epitomized Mossad's global reach. Resource-heavy, deep cover yielding worldwide strikes, methodical over flashy, death bureaucratic via office approvals, distant from execution sites. Human deception underpinned it, operatives fracturing selves for that pivotal instant. That Vienna-Istanbul line persists, carriages repopulated daily by oblivious riders, restroom scrubbed countless times. No plaque marking the spot for operational flawlessness demands ordinariness. Elsewhere, fresh Caesarea agents embed in cities, nurturing covers, awaiting activations as signatures greenlight successors, intelligence's shadow war grinding, bureaucratically eternal. What lingers is precision's price, states wielding murder as policy, operatives paying psyches, targets spawning replacements in endless loop. The operation's immediate ripples extended far beyond the confines of that Austrian train carriage, disrupting financial pipelines that Khalid Masri had meticulously constructed over more than a decade of shadowy transactions across Europe and the Middle East. Hamas cells reliant on his networks experienced funding shortfalls in the weeks following his death, forcing hasty reallocations of resources and creating exploitable gaps that Israeli intelligence teams quickly penetrated for deeper insights into operational cells in Gaza and the West Bank. European bankers and intermediaries linked to his shell companies in Cyprus, Turkey, and Zurich faced heightened scrutiny from local authorities, some quietly severing ties out of fear of exposure, which compounded the disarray and delayed several planned arms procurements through Sinai routes. Yet, this disruption proved temporary, as within months, successors emerged from within Hamas ranks, younger financiers schooled in Khalid's compartmentalized methods, but adapting with digital cryptocurrencies and Hawala systems to evade traditional banking trails, rebuilding the web with fresh proxies in Istanbul and Beirut. For Mossad, the kill represented a tactical victory in their doctrine of preemptive neutralization, echoing patterns seen in earlier strikes like the 2010 Dubai hotel elimination of arms procurer Mahmoud al-Mabou, where a large team deployed paralytic drugs only to see Hamas rebound through recruitment drives fueled by martyrdom narratives. Similarly, recent high-profile takedowns such as Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran demonstrated how such actions jolt leadership structures but often harden resolve, with Hamas vowing retaliation that manifests in rocket barrages or tunnel expansions rather than capitulation. On the human front, Rachel Tsur's return to Israel marked the beginning of a profound personal unraveling that underscored the unseen toll of Caesarea's deep cover mandates. Debriefings stretched over 2 weeks in isolated facilities, where psychologists documented subtle fractures in her sense of self, manifestations of prolonged identity immersion that blurred authentic memories with fabricated biographies, leading to episodes of disorientation, where she momentarily responded to discarded aliases like Katrin Mueller during routine interactions. She transitioned to training roles, instructing recruits on surveillance tradecraft and the mental hygiene required to sustain legends without psychological collapse, drawing from her Vienna Odyssey to emphasize rotation limits and post-mission therapy protocols that many operatives ignored in pursuit of operational tempo. Her marriage in 2013 to an architect outside intelligence circles offered a semblance of normalcy, yet the union frayed over 4 years as she struggled to articulate the voids carved by years of solitude and ethical compartmentalization, conversations stalling at vague allusions to classified service that left her husband navigating an emotional chasm he could neither cross nor comprehend. Retirement in 2016 relocated her to a quiet coastal enclave south of Tel Aviv, where freelance translation work provided income without deception's weight, though acquaintances remarked on her persistent remoteness, a pleasant demeanor masking an inner detachment, as if portions of her psyche remained sequestered in Munich apartments or Vienna cafes. Khalid's death vaulted into Mossad archives as a classified triumph, unacknowledged publicly, while Hamas elevated him to martyr status in Gaza memorials and Damascus eulogies, his image framed beside fallen commanders. Speeches invoking his funding legacy to inspire fresh recruits and perpetuate resistance infrastructure he once bankrolled. This cycle of elimination and regeneration forms the enduring legacy of such operations, fitting into Mossad's broader historical repertoire from the post-Munich Wrath of God campaign targeting Black September planners across Europe to precision strikes on Iranian nuclear scientists and Hezbollah commanders in Beirut suburbs. Each instance delivers short-term paralysis to adversary capabilities, as seen when Hania's 2024 assassination in Iran disrupted political negotiations, yet prompted proxy escalations from Houthis and Hezbollah, mirroring how al-Mabou's demise spurred Hamas weapon innovation rather than deterrence. Israeli analysts measure success in averted attacks and intelligence windfalls, yet critics note how these killings galvanize enemy propaganda, portraying targets as unyielding heroes whose voids fill rapidly, ensuring organizational resilience amid leadership decapitation. Hamas, in turn, adapts by decentralizing command and finance further, leveraging diaspora sympathizers in Europe and Gulf states to sustain flows undeterred by individual losses. Rachel's trajectory reflects the operative's parallel sacrifice, where professional acclaim collides with existential erosion, prompting internal debates on sustainability as veteran agents opt for desk roles or early exits, their expertise preserved, but field potency diluted. Globally, these actions signal to adversaries that no sanctuary exists, from Damascus enclaves to Tehran guest houses, reinforcing Israel's posture as a state unwilling to tolerate financiers enabling bloodshed, even as the human machinery grinds on both sides, trading lives in a ledger of security imperatives that yields no final accounting. In this realm, safeguards falter against determined states. Safety illusory as trains, cafes, streets host unseen finales. Reflect on security's edge versus humanity's erosion when killing routinizes. Same routes hum on, passengers settle unaware, cycle primed anew. Share thoughts below on targeted killings justice. Like if this gripped you, subscribe for Covert Histories Unpacked.